Hey there, everybody. Robert Taylor with Wonderscape Creations. Continuing on with my uh, world level world building series, um, going over the materials today. So I do, for those who don't want to buy or don't have the finances to buy materials, auto material specifically, or any kind of material really. In my channel, I do have a series that goes over creating something very similar to what I have here for those that wish to watch that. Um, Otherwise, um, here for my shameless plug, I do have the Wonderscape material right there that can be purchased and utilized. There are three examples within there of how to use this material. Well, not this material, but my nodes, because all I really did was add a whole bunch of nodes that help with features like slope masks, height masks, area masks, angle masks, and the difference between slope and angle is the fact that um, maybe you want to have the snow completely covering only this side of the mountain. Then there's noise masks. There's different ways to combine these masks for different effects. There's just a lot there. So I wanted to make sure that everyone else could utilize those as well. So the reason why I brought all that up is because we will be going into my material instance to do a few things, but only when we get to this one right here. But since we're here, I need to rename these real quick to main. It's important to do that for those that decide to join you down the road. That way they're not trying to memorize and remember everything. Oops. And then to further organize things, I'm going to move these to their own folder. I'm going to name it landscapes. There, that way that is easy in the future. So, first things first, we are just going to paint ourselves some snow-capped mountains here. Just right here because I like it. And honestly, it should be. If you compare the heights with this to where this is. So let's go ahead and go into landscape mode. And then into paint. So I keep it pretty basic, fairly simple. Here, share that. The reason why we already had that one is because we had it right there. Sharing them works just fine. So over my many years of doing these things, I've come to realize that, especially when making larger worlds, optimization is key. So I've had to make plenty of sacrifices in the future, or in the current renditions of what I'm doing. And if you're not at that point and you want to do things your way, that's fine too. I'm just pointing out the reason why I do some of the things that I do and why I don't tend to use auto materials heavily. Obviously, as you can see, I do it with the cliffs. I do it with the dirt. I don't do it with anything else, simply because it just takes a few minutes to do some painting. Now, we're going to start off with noise because I like to create a border essentially around this where everything's going to be. And noise makes it to where it's not, a perfectly straight line, which is ridiculously stupid. Now, you may be noticing how we're not seeing the circle on mine, and you may be seeing it on yours. If you are, that's great. The reason for that is here in Landscape Editor. See how now it's got swamp, main, desert, and tundra. We need to be in main. Let's go ahead and do that. I have to replace that in there, which is fine. And now, as you can see, we can see it. So I will make the brush size a little bigger. Put the tool strength of this to 1. Both, I've found that if you do add or subtract, things can get a little wonky if you have multiple materials already painted. So if it was, say, you have grass, this grass biome and the desert biome right next to each other, and you decided to do just add, it gets really wonky. So I tend to just keep it at both. Um, and then, of course, you have the noise scale sizes here. Go ahead and just paint this real quick so that we can see. So this is what 128 does. Obviously, if we go down and we do this, now it makes it smaller. And then obviously, if we go bigger, it makes it significantly bigger. I just want to make sure you guys understood that. So real quick, right click, fill layer. Okay, that's fine. Now, I'm probably going to go with like an 85 here. Nothing too big, nothing too small. Because I do want there to be some noticeable difference. There we go. Obviously, this whole thing right here. Actually, yeah. So I need to come down here. That's what I need to do. Over here. And from here, we know we want up here painted. All right. Once that's done, I go into paint. And I go ahead and do so. Alrighty. On the other side, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, as you can see, I need to actually, because we're getting closer to that, the snow can come down a little more on this side, which is fine. Totally fine. Okay. There we go. Now then, real quick, just so that there's something here. Figures. You gotta be a little more on the difficult side. That's fine. Just like this. I'll actually do that for this whole thing right here. There. Now go into paint. As you can see, this can be a little bit on the tedious side for sure. But honestly, as I said, to me, it's something that should be done for performance gain purposes. Instances in which that's a ridiculous attempt is giant open worlds that essentially never end. You're not going to be able to hand paint that, obviously, because a lot of it is procedurally done. So for things like that, auto materials is a must. But since I am not worrying about a world that never ends, I can just hand paint this. Okay. Almost done, and then we will get to the next, to the deserts that I can talk about things from there, and we can I can show off a few things color-wise that are important. As you can see, it's important also to make sure that you look at your landscape in many different angles. That way you make sure you get everything. Now for me, this looks a little on the top. See, wouldn't have noticed that otherwise. On the strange path, it's too square. So I'll come over here to noise again. There we go. Look at that. Super easy. Perfect. Oh, right there. Missed that. And here we go. Okay. Good to go. So now our snow-capped mountain is solid. We have a little extra snow coming down here because we're getting closer to the colder climates. Down the road, we may add patches of snow the closer you get to there. Haven't decided yet. But this one right here, if you recall, right here started with grass. It's the same grass. I just altered the color a bit. So we're going to go ahead and go over that. So if I come over here to desert, let all this load. There we go. Kind of. Well, while this is doing it, so you may be wondering to yourself, why not have the desert's biome 1 be this? And then, this one's biome 1 being that, and this one's biome 1 being that. And there's a very good reason for it, physical materials. So if that way, if I want to have sand here, even if it's not red, it doesn't have to be red. With material instance, I can make it whatever color I want. If there's sand somewhere in here, then the physical material will register it as sand and make the sand noise and produce the sand particles, all that kind of stuff. And we'll get to that stuff eventually. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear as to why I made that design choice. Let's see here. So we already have biome 3 in there. Biome 1 is what we're going to do because I want to show off this. So obviously here we got biome 1. Now if you look at it, because I went ahead and moved the materials from my other project to this one. If you look at it, they're not the same hue. As you can see, this is a much brighter, fuller green than this. And I'll show you why. Go ahead and go into the selection just to make this easier. Select desert, material instance. Come over here to biome 1, color parameters. So first I desaturated a little bit. It's no longer at a full 1. Then with the tint, if I select it, I went a little bit into the red. And then because I use a noise coloring mask, still went a little bit into the red. It's just darker. So I did that to make things a little different. It's similar enough, but you're going to see a difference no matter what. I didn't want such a stark green with the red cliffs. So I'm going to go ahead and time lapse the painting of the transition that I'm doing. and then I'll show what I do to easily see a pond. All right. So as you guys saw, I did quite a bit. I went ahead and changed some of my methods, so I'll go over it now. As you can see, it still looks really good. Um, this is going to be a jungle area that's on the other side of the desert. Um, so I went ahead and used target value. That way it lowers the strength, the tool strength, to fit an exact value that I want it to go and to not go over. Then I did it over here to what I think was a great effect. As you can see, even if we come over here where it's at its strongest, I made sure that the dirt that's in this was a considerably more red. So that's something that you can mess with as well. I've done that and did talk about it in my material instance. That's essentially what I did here. Now, I may fade it like this over here. I haven't quite decided yet. I don't know how I feel about it. Um, yeah, for the next video, I'll probably transition it to make it look better. But we are going to go ahead now and make where a lake is going to be. So to do that, because I will be using oceanology and riverology, but for the sake of showing the easiest way to find where lakes are naturally in your landscapes. So if you have stamps or if you hand sculpted or if you had your own landscapes or whatever, this is a simple, quick method. I just look for a plane and the place actors. And in the details, I believe it was 600 by 600. What was I off by a lot? That's fine. So come right here. And that's about the size that I'm going to want it. Yeah. See if I'm going how much bigger I can go. I'll go with that size because I want it big. Let's see here. But optimization wise, let's see. Let's make you 500 by 500. There we go. Of course, there's a corner. Let's get this corner over here. There. It's completely covered and hidden. And now we have where the water's going to be. So, go back to landscape. And then I have this biome 6 here for me. And I'm going to make you 1500. You'll notice right away, once the shaders are done compiling, that it's shiny. Oops. And that's fine, because it's going to be underwater. I will be making it here, making it a bit more red down the road. I just didn't get to that. You may notice that sometimes it's a little hard to see simply because of all the white. You can always go to unlit, which at this point does not seem to be helping. So that's fine. What we will do instead is come here to game settings. There we go. Because we have not messed with post-process volumes yet. Yeah, and this is essentially what I do. I'm going to go ahead and speed it up again, and I will be right back with you. Alright, so as you saw, made a whole bunch of noise, and then I went and smoothed it out so that transition seems a little better, a little cleaner. And yeah, it's glowing because once it's underwater, it will then look wet instead of this flat matte looking color. Alright, so that is everything for the materials section of this that I will be going over. Again, if you guys are wanting a more detailed explanation on materials, I do already have a couple of series that go over it. The newest one being the most informative, obviously, as I've learned more. Next video, we will be going over HLODs and world partition. That way, you can get the best optimization possible. We'll still be able to see your large open world. And then we will go over what we will be touching in the next week's series of episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.